Let's put these tools of ProTools to work. So we'll start in the upper left-hand corner with the ProTools editing modes: Shuffle, Slip, Spot, and Grid. In Grid, there are two choices, absolute and relative. So we'll save Spot and Grid for projects later in the training. For now, we'll work with Shuffle and Slip. The way you switch between these modes is the F1, 2, 3, and 4 keys on your computer. If that's not set up on your Mac, you'll want to go to System Preferences, Keyboard. Be sure that this box is checked so that you're actually using the F1 and 2 and 3 and 4 keys as opposed to the little icons that are printed on there. Close this, and the clips are still living in the clip bin and they're not in the timeline. And the best way for me to illustrate the difference between shuffle and slip for you is to pick up this first ticking. I want both sides, the left and the right. And I'm going to pick it up and drag it to the timeline, but I'm going to drop it way over here somewhere. You will notice this little yellow line that appeared as soon as my cursor got anywhere near the timeline. And even though my cursor is way over here, when I let go, the sound goes over there to the left wall. Now let me do the same thing. I'm going to delete that iteration of it and switch to slip and do the same thing. Pick up ticking and drag it and drop it here. And now it goes where my cursor is. Shuffle is designed to always fill whatever gap is there. If there's nothing in the track, it's going to hug the left wall. That's very handy when you're editing so that you don't have gaps in your edits. So let's work on this together. I'm going to delete that iteration. Pick up ticking and drop it into the timeline. Pick up wind up and drop it in behind ticking, and pick up chime and drop it in behind that. And now we have that same edit that we deleted a little while ago. And we really didn't have to think about the placement very much. When you're using shuffle, you drop it in and it falls right into place. Very handy editing mode for that. One thing you can't do in shuffle is move this clip. Remember, shuffle's designed to always fill gaps. There's an unseen magnet between this clip and this clip. And these two are sort of welded together. I'm trying to push this clip to the right. In slip mode, I can create a gap. But in shuffle mode, I can't peel this clip away from the one that it's attached to. Use shuffle to reattach this over there. That's the main difference between shuffle and slip. Shuffle allows you to do some reorganization of where the files go. For instance, you can take chime and push it ahead of wind up. So now it's just inserted itself on top of wind up. If you're a video editor and you're familiar with the concept of overwrite and insert edits, this is the same thing. So I'm going to grab wind up and get him back into position. And that's the main difference between shuffle and slip. So I'm skipping over the zooms for now, including this zoom tool, and going to the trim tool. Trim means change the beginning and the end, change the in point and the out point, change where it starts and where it ends. If I want to trim in slip mode, I will create a gap where I trimmed away the front here. I'm going to Command Z and undo that. Go to shuffle mode and trim it. And what happens is it fills the gap and everybody moves left. Do that again. So I'm going to choose these two little blips. And again, filled the gap, everybody moves left. I'll undo, Command Z, Command Z. Now we're back to the original edit. Practice that one and get comfortable with the idea of trimming away things that you don't want. Shuffle and slip, you can either trim and leave the gap or trim and fill the gap. So now we've seen these three tools, the trimmer, the region selector, and the grabber. One of the handiest tools in ProTools is the Smart tool. We activate it by clicking the bar above these three tools, or you can click the F6 and 7 key together. So let me deactivate the Smart tool, choose one of these tools. I'm going to hold down 6 and 7 together, or hold down 7 and 8 together and get the Smart tool. So 6 by itself gives me that, 7, 8, but 6 and 7 together give me the Smart tool. So what's the advantage of the Smart Tool? If I have the region selector and I'm working down here on the timeline and I want to switch tools, I have to go up and grab the trimmer, work down here on the timeline, go up and grab the grabber, come back and work on the timeline. It would be much faster if I had one tool that gave me access to different tools, and I do. So let me fit this to window. If I'm on the top half of the clip, so the half being this center line that separates the left side on top from the right side on the bottom. If I'm on the top half, I have a region selector. I can select any region. I can go from left to right or right to left, select any region in any clip. Once I cross over that center line, it becomes a grabber. And now I'm selecting the entire clip. Any clip on top, the entire clip on the bottom. That settles it for these two tools. What about the trimmer? Well, the trimmer is on the center line at the end or the beginning of each clip. So here I'd be trimming the end of the first clip, scoot it just a bit to the right, and now I'm trimming the front of the second clip. End of the second clip, scoot it a bit to the right, beginning of the third clip. So that's a very handy tool. Region selector, grabber, trimmer, all in one place, depending on where you place your tool.